Fancy intro music, yeah! Woo! Every month we do a dev Q&A video where we try to take some of the more pertinent questions that you have about Star Trek Fleet Command, this wonderful game that we're obsessed with and continue to play no matter what. And we're going to talk about some of the answers that we got from the dev team. Now, because we typically only send about 10 questions, and this one's really covering a lot of the features from this episode or this arc, TNG Arc 4, well, it's not going to have everything that you're probably wanting to hear. That said, don't forget that we've had other dev Q&A videos like in previous months, and you can see those here, and we'll also put the link down below so you can check them out if you haven't watched those already, because I understand 10 questions that we're going to go through today are not everything. Far from it. Far from it. There's even some things that I continue to work with them, pass along feedback, and they're very receptive to feedback. They don't always listen to what I say, but at least they're there like a nice shoulder to cry on. It's not as much as a helpful ear, but whatever. We appreciate them taking the time. Thank you. Big thank yous. So as always, this only happens, by the way, because you support. So if you want more of these type of videos and you want more of that open communication, you got to support the channel. I can only be the man of the people. Oh, look at that raging bicep. It's so sexy. Oh, look at it. It can only happen because you support the channel. So share this out with your friends, your family, your server, your Discord, whatever. It's greatly appreciated. Also, that was really stupid. Just want to say that was, I guess it's kind of on brand, but that was really dumb. Anyway, how about we go into question number one? And I went straight for it. You know, I was like, look, we got to know. We got to know. So we know Photon tokens are coming. Number one. But have y'all picked a date yet? You did say you'd tell me when they were coming. Now that was directed at another dev who said that a while ago. But here is the ops team's response, because they do look at this together. And they said, we have not announced a date yet. Keep an eye out in future patch notes. Wiki face! Wiki face! Oh my God, it's a wiki face. Could that be a hint? Could that mean something? It's a wiki face. Oh my God, it's a wiki face. What does that mean? What's a wiki face mean? Could it be soon? Could it be soon? Could it be never? Oh my God, I don't know. I don't know. But it's a winky face. I have more questions now than I ever have before. Oh well. Let's move on to number two. For the Exocomps feature, what was the thought process for the design team on preventing them from being used on things that are currently in progress? Buildings, research, etc. Is this a limitation to the game? Yeah, because that's one thing that bugged a lot of people about the Exocomps is that you couldn't use them on stuff like this. Like, see my hypo spray and my isogen extraction currently going. If you launch an Exocomp right now, it does not affect that at all. So that was a big issue for, several players. Everybody's wanting to know, why is that? And apparently, here's the answer. I asked, is this a limitation of the game's code? And they said, correct. The consumables work similar to how research buffs work in the game, which do not apply to things already started. The game figures out when you start the build research and what resources and time are needed. So that is why the buff needs to be active at the start for it to take effect. So essentially, for it to have any type of bonus applied to something, it's got to figure it out when it happens. And if that does not take place, then it just sits there and goes, I don't know. Doesn't take any new information. Once it starts the process, it closes off until it's finished or you speed it up. Or in the case of not being able to speed up scrapping, you just wait. Can we get that, please? Can we please speed up scrapping? That would be fantastic. Thank you. Number three. While the Exocomp building does provide some cool boost, there's also a continually growing sentiment of frustration, as months ago, Scopely and the ops team promised to work on lowering the amount of time people are forced to spend in the game. Are the Exocomps part of that plan? And the reason I ask that is because there are Exocomp buffs that do things like quicken mining speed, warp times, to maybe hopefully make it quicker, even if it's small pieces here and there, to make the game a little bit better. And here was their response, that this is an ongoing conversation. Exocomps is not a full solution in and of itself, but we try to consider this aspect when building new features. For example, Exocomps may reduce how much time is needed on daily tasks by speeding up mining and grinding. The addition of new daily goals gives people more options to complete their milestones faster, and we're continuously looking into how to balance providing enough content for those who want to spend a lot of time while not having it feel required. So I will say it's a difficult task, because even me, when I talk to some of y'all, I'll say the majority of you do want less eyeball time, like less forced gameplay. But there are a lot of people who want to complete everything and progress as fast as possible, even if that takes several hours. So you do try to make both sides happy. But I do think that they need to continue to work on, as an overall, the main portion of the game, less grind, less time. I think that'd be beneficial to everybody. Last Exocomp question, I swear, but I asked this one. Why are Exocomps built off the base instead of on top of research? For example, a 50% build reduction only translates to a 5.1%. So we talked about how Exocomps cannot work on things that have already started, and because of how they decided to set it up, that it works similar to how your already existing research does. So if you've got a mining speed boost research, well, that Exocomp is actually just going to combine with that. It's not going to multiply on top of it or work before it. So that means that, you know, for me, and I gave this example, my 15% build Exocomp only translates to about 5.1% based on research I have for building speed. And that's just simply how they chose to install it. I would have rather they have done it like a critical, how that mechanic works, where critical multiplies after everything. But that probably would make things really, really squirrely when you get to like the 3-star and 4-star Exocomps. That'd just make them OP. So there's the answers. Hopefully that answered most of your Exocomp questions, and that kind of gives you all the big ones anyway that y'all are wondering about. Number 5. Any update on Borg dailies? This was mentioned as a good idea and potential addition last month. Any follow-up on this? And they said that it's still a possibility and it's a good idea, but there's no news on that front. We have updated daily goals in other ways, such as the new recent daily goals for away teams and consumables, and added extra axionic chips in the second daily goals chest. We want to be careful adding too many goals that might feel like requirements per the feedback about limiting that per day. So as they've said twice now, they are limited about the idea of making you feel like you're required to complete all these tasks. So they are trying to find a balance there. And, you know, I got asked, after I asked all these questions, you know, what did I think about some of the events going on right now? And my response was, the events are great, the rewards are great, there's just simply too much. It needs to be condensed down where all those rewards are less events and less time, but still the same amount. Because I love the structure, but maybe lower the milestones and keep the same level of rewards, just so that people can complete them quicker. And I gave faction hunt as an example. For me to complete all 3 faction hunts is basically destroying 300 ships, and that's just a lot of work. So no matter whether you're doing 4 ships or 1 ship, you know, it's going to take time. So it's something they're looking into. I'm still going to continue to push Borg dailies because it is such an important aspect of the game, especially for acquiring faction credits that we all need for various things in the game. Number 6. 2 months in a row, we've seen the Parabellum twice and 1 Jellyfish Brawl. Now, while I do think we need more of those, I think it's a great standard to set to at least have it happen consistently. And that's what I asked. Is this going to become a standard like Cosmic Cleanup on Saturdays has been? And they said that we're always looking to have valuable and interesting events on a consistent basis. However, these are not necessarily standard, and players should not assume that they will be on this schedule. I hate that answer. I hate it. We want it. Give it to us. Stop trying. Just give us what we want. Okay, we had to beg for years to get more faction hunt, and now we have it. Give us more. Thank you for the promotion, EXCO. Give us more. Give us more. Anyway, number 8. Armada directive sourcing has continued to be a strain. The Armada events that have started to come regularly during the arcs are great. I think most people would agree with that. Most players seem to love them. When will Scopely rerun the directive sourcing event? Now, this one I actually ended up getting into a long conversation with the dev team about because I did not like this answer. They said there were some in the Battle Pass this month, plus players can get directives from the Alliance store, which we also sourced more credits for this month. That being said, we'll continue to look at the balance of resources to be given out. And here's why I turned this into a longer conversation. Because in my Battle Pass, I get 150 rare directives. That's not enough to launch a rare. So that's not sourcing me rares for this run. Not to mention, I hadn't gotten those yet anyway when those are happening. Oh, am I just getting tons of promotions? What the heck's going on in EXCO? They're just handing out promotions, everybody. It's you get one, you get one, you get one, you get one, you get one. And yes, you can get from the Alliance store, but you can only get uncommons. And if you remember, the Armada events that were launching gave you points for launching rares and epics. Now, you got points for doing damage to any type, but you only got extra points for doing rares and epics. And to me, and I told them this, if you really want to push that Galactic Armada pack, which value-wise is valuable, it's a good pack, you got to be able to give people a reason to actually go out and do it, and give all people an equal chance. I think in general, and we talked about this a couple months ago when they had the event that gave out a ton of Armada directives, including rares. It benefited the entire economy. More Armadas were run, which also led to alliances running more Armadas, which then spurred on purchasing because people wanted to keep doing them because they're fun. Especially when you're doing them all the time, you just feel like you're swimming in resources. Timers to Armada boxes and everything to the side, it's a very good mechanic when everybody's doing them. Whether it's Eclipse, whether it's regular Armadas, if everybody's doing them consistently, you're seeing a nice little income that you weren't normally getting. But if it's something that you do as a one-off, like through events, it's not as fun. So the ultimate goal for me is to encourage them to make that to something that you actually want to do Armadas, because everybody can afford to launch them a lot by procuring these things through events. I think that makes the game better. I want to know what you think in the comment section below. Number 9. In reference to Scopely's promise to create more, / less events that require more eyeballs in the game, more time in the game, what are some of the steps that y'all are working on to do that, if any? And they said that we're constantly looking at the balancing of events and seeing which ones may take up more time than intended. Though that takes time, very pun intended, to figure out. We're also trying to balance events across the arc so that there are some active and some passive events each day, but not too many of each. We're also open to feedback from players on any particular events or days that feel too time intensive. Now, I will say this. I know you're going to say that you're frustrated. I know you're going to say that you've provided feedback. Please provide it again, because I've had some very good conversations about this subject this month, last month, previous months, and I do feel like overall it has gotten better. It's tough to notice it because I think we all agree Scopely tends to move at a snail's pace when we want a rabbit's pace. They don't move as fast as we want, but there have definitely been improvements. That's appreciated. So we just have to continue to provide that feedback, do that down below in the comment section, and hopefully we can get what we're looking for, which is just the perfect game, which is a very subjective thing. But we can try. We can try. And then finally, number 10, this is just kind of a generic question that apparently this dev has got a sense of humor. He's just so funny. Yeah, just ha, ha, ha. Anyway, I asked, how excited are you personally for the wrap-up of the TNG arc, as in next month? At least we know it's at least 5. What if it's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? Oh my gosh. Anyway, I asked what their thoughts about the wrap-up, them knowing what's coming up. And they said that I'm very excited. I personally can't wait for Redacted, and I think players are really going to enjoy Redacted. We're also bringing in my favorite storyline, Redacted. So, yeah. Now, I can kind of have an idea of some of that. Like, I'll tell you one thing that is not coming. I know that this particular dev that was sitting down answering these questions is a big fan of Star Trek Lower Decks. If you haven't seen it yet, watch it. It's amazing. That's not coming. But I think I have an idea, and we'll talk about that soon. They wrap this interview up by saying, in all seriousness, we hope you all enjoyed the story, officers, and features across this arc, and we're looking forward to finishing it strong and then kicking off the next big arc. Well, that's it. That's all we got. Those are the 10 questions we went through today. I know it was a lot of stuff like Exocomps, but those are really pressing questions from many of you throughout this month so far, and including some of the questions that y'all been asking for the past few weeks before the arc started. If you enjoyed the video, please like. I can only make this stuff happen if you support the channel. If y'all aren't here, they're not going to do it. They're going to waste time on a random ginger shouting at them unless there's a little bit of a community behind me. So it's all based on y'all, and thank you so much for supporting the channel. Subscribe if you have not already, and I can't express enough, comment. Like right here, there's a box right now. It should be popping up that says comments. Please provide your comments, your feedback on what you think, and we'll try to pass that along to the dev team as well, as we will share this video, as we always do, for the Q&A and pass it so they can review it on their weekly meetings. Y'all are awesome. Live long and prosper. Stay safe, other Space Cowboys. Y'all are an amazing group, an amazing community. Keep that in mind. And if you need anything that I can help you with, reach out to me, Facebook, Discord at any time. I love y'all. God bless. We'll catch you on the next one. Deuces. That's me. An even better outro than the intro. Yeah! Woo!